Hey there, friends. Welcome to a new series that we're starting. We are taking the next several Wednesdays and we're going to review a we're going to review a different church website every week. So I'm excited about something new that we're doing here, where we're going to dive into a different church's website every week for the next, I want to say 6 or 7 weeks, something like that. And we are going to basically look from a first time perspective, unpack the website, where we give first impressions. We give kind of our first thoughts, my first thoughts about what your website does well, what you could do better on your website, how to um, uh, reach your target audience better a little bit. I'm excited about this because it's something that we get questions about all the time at Church Juice, is about websites. What do we need on our website? Should we have this or not that? And how do we use our website to reach our community? Or should it be geared toward our congregation? Or so we get all kinds of church website related questions. So over the next several weeks, we're going to take a different church. We have had several churches reach out, apply to be part of this series, and so we're going to dive deep into each website, a different website every week. So this week is our very first one. And I'm really excited about taking a look at this website. So we're going to look at First Christian Reformed Church in Red Deer, Alberta. So we're going to take a look at their website. They're in I guess it would be southern Alberta, south of like Calgary and Edmonton, if I remember correctly. So first CRC in Red Deer, they reached out to us. I think they were actually the first ones to reach out to us when we kind of threw this out there. So I'm excited to take a look at their website today. So let's dive in. Let me put in, let's see here. Let me put in the website. All right, so I have not looked at this website. I mean, I've probably looked at it before, but definitely not anytime recently. This is I'm going to give you my first impressions, all of that from the perspective of a first timer, someone who knows nothing about the church, because really, I don't know much about the church. So when I first look at the church website here, the first things that I notice is that first, there's no logo up in, I was going to use my fingers, but you can't see my hand. So up here in this corner, there's no logo right away. Let's see if maybe it appear. It does not appear when you scroll down. So the good thing about having a logo up in this first upper left area of your website is that it's always there, first of all. So it's consistent branding, consistent visual identity and looking. So to have a logo there, if you don't have a logo, I would spend some, just a little bit of money and create a logo, because that visual identity is something that you can use across the board, and it creates consistency with your messaging. But here on your website, that's the first thing that people will look at. If you go to any website, go to Amazon. You go to their website, the first thing that you do is our eyes just go to that top left, and it scans across real quick, and it goes down. And so you want to make sure that you're being consistent with that a little bit on your own website. The second thing that I notice right away is that there's an image of the cross and what I assume is the church's mission or tagline. But as a new person, it doesn't really tell me much about the website visually, or about the church, sorry, visually. So what I would love to see here is people in worship on a Sunday, or people in community and ministry doing the work, so that I have some sort of visual connection. So it just gives me that little bit of expectation if I were to show up on Sunday, what to even look for. I do see right here you have where you're located, which is good. I would probably add a little, well, you have your address down here. So when we think about SEO, or how your website shows up in search results, it's always good to have right away to have something localized on your website. So having the location, like the city or the township, the neighborhood, anything that you can do to localize your church website, so that when people are searching for churches in your area, your church website will show up. So Google's looking for those kinds of things. So having your address, having the location here, that's good. So I mentioned the pictures a little bit. As a first timer, I would love to see a little bit more. I mentioned kind of the visual, but I would also love to know, like, what are you expecting me to do when I hop onto your website? So right here, toward the bottom here, you have a text link to watch worship services. So let's click through to that and see. So this actually takes you to I would assume what is the live stream on Sunday, but I can't watch unless I'm showing up what I assume is 10 o'clock on Sunday. So it would be great to have some sort of call to action, some sort of next step right here as as kind of a large button, so that I know, like, hey, I'm looking for past services where I can watch, or I'm looking for my next step, learn more, get to know us, that kind of thing. So the other thing that I would say about links is that if you are creating a consistent call to action, or a consistent button on your homepage, which you should have one, maybe two that are consistent throughout the homepage. Make sure that you're using a button, because it's visual. First of all, people don't read text very well. So even though it's underlined, and you would assume that something underlined is a hyperlink, a button is just that much more. It takes less brain power to kind of think through that a little bit. As we scroll down, we see a few things that I would say are not really geared toward first-time visitors. So if I've never come to your church before, or I know nothing about the church, I'm just kind of exploring. Especially this deacons outreach and the taxes image, I have no idea what that means. Even as someone in the church, that means nothing to me. as someone who doesn't know much about your church specifically, Right Now Media, obviously, if you're in the church, you probably know what Right Now Media is. And it's kind of like Netflix for Bible studies and church type videos. But as a first time person on a website, they probably don't know what Right Now Media is. And because they're not part of your church, they can't access it anyway, without like asking permission. So I would love to see these buttons a little bit more geared toward first time visitors. So that could be, it could be about your different ministries. It could be about, so like kids or youth or whatever you guys focus on. It could also be just to learn more. So your church bulletin might be a great example of that, where someone can learn more. Um, but as I go to it, I can see that I actually have to log in to see that. So again, this is not geared toward first time visitors. And that's actually the bottom of the homepage. So there's no footer here. So one thing that people commonly do when they go to a website is they look at the header, which we'll get into that in a minute, and then they scroll down very quickly. They go to the bottom. So it would be great to have again your contact information there, a call to action in the footer, maybe some links to important pages that someone might be looking for, or social links or something like that, but put information in your footer, because that's people will look there. What we generally do with our eyes when we go to a website is we look in an F or a Z or Z formation. So we scan across the top. So we look at the menu real quick. We look at the logo. We often look at the first and last buttons. Then we kind of, our eyes go back to the left side a little bit, and we kind of skip down and skip over and scan a lot more than just reading. I would love to see some more text, some more content on the homepage, because for a first time visitor, there's not much I can do here. So if I try to watch the worship service, I can't do that because it's not Sunday at 10 a.m. All of these mean nothing to me as someone who is not part of the church, and that's really it. So what am I supposed to do? Um, so that's what I would say for the homepage. When I go back to the top and look at the menu, I see there are 5 total buttons. Um, you have the first one, which is home, and I would say you don't need that if you have a logo on the left side here. So people generally know now to click the logo to go home, and so that frees up space, and frees up just mind space as well for website visitors. So this would be a great spot to have a button for specifically for first time visitors. So I'm new, or learn more, or about us, or get started, something like that, to invite someone who's brand new to your church website, invite them just a little bit into relationship, into some sort of next step. And so you see, as you look at your website analytics, you can see that people are diving deeper into relationship with your church just by the way that they are going through your website. So have something here as the first call to, or the first navigation menu, or menu item. Have something that is for that first time visitor. What I mentioned a couple minutes ago is that we often look at the first and the last menu items. So your last menu item, or the rightmost menu item, is actually another login button. So for a first timer, that's if I'm coming to your church website, or I'm coming to learn more about your church, that feels pretty exclusive of me, for me. So I can't log in because I'm not part of your church, but I'm just really trying to explore. I'm just trying to learn more about who you are and if I want to attend your church. So forcing me to log in, or to register to log in, first of all, for what? I don't know. Um, but that's also pretty insider, pretty exclusive. VBS is great as long as people know what VBS means. So that's something that, for your context, you may want to explore. But I would assume that for your church, this is a big summer outreach that you do. And so that's good to have it up here, because it's a special event. And I assume people are going to your website specifically for for this information. So this next menu item, who are we, or kind of the about us section of a website, is one of those areas that is almost kind of like the junk drawer, I guess. So it's great to have because people are interested. So you could reformat this a little bit to be focused for first time visitors, where you have like this "Are you new?" page link. So this is stuff that you could put right there in that first menu item. People do love to look at church staff pages too. So I would make sure you have updated photos. Make sure that they are consistent. This looks very, to me, very what's the old school like family photo place that you'd find in like Sears, like Olin Mills. That's kind of what this looks like to me. So so kind of old school. It looks a little outdated. Just it could be style. So I would encourage just updated staff photos here. I love that the contact information is readily available. Um, I would love to see a little bit more about what these roles are. Especially you have two pastors. You have Pastor Harry, Pastor Ken. What do they do? What are their different roles? Um, and what are the different kind of ministries that people take care of and that kind of thing. You could also include, if you have different lay leadership, you have elders, deacons, you have just ministry leaders that are volunteers. You could also list that on your on your leadership page. Make sure that you don't make sure that you differentiate that they're not staff, but that's always good to have, just so people like to know who's in leadership and what leadership looks like. You have history, beliefs. That's all pretty standard normally that people include in websites. So that's great to have in learning more about the church. And then you have this big section about that's just says more. So that's where you have listings about ministries. You have what I assume is a sermon archive, church bookings. So this is all, it looks like, pretty insider information for people who are part of your church. So I would encourage you to think through how do we reorganize the content of our website, so that it is more friendly to someone who is just checking out our church for the first time. So they don't know anything about us. They're just kind of exploring um, how can we meet their needs and make sure that we're answering their questions as early on in that relationship as possible. And I would also encourage you at First CRC and anyone else who is watching or just kind of following along with this, simplify your menus as much as possible. Put content on the page, put links to different pages, that's fine. Simplify your actual menus though. Drop downs and sub menus of drop downs. This goes down, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I see 4 levels. That's way too much and way too complicated. So I'm not a fan of drop down menus at all. It just creates more confusion. So make it simple. You could put all of this on a landing page or a pillar page with the different content and help people dive into the relationship that way, so that you can also follow it through your analytics, and find out, how people are using your website, where they drop off, what kind of information they're interacting with. So that's always a good way to do that. So overall, I think there's quite a bit of work that I would encourage you to do as you reach out to your community at First in Red Deer. I would love to see a lot more visuals of the church. So there's really no pictures other than the staff that I have seen. No pictures of people who are actually part of the church. Yeah, even this page, these are all empty. So the building's great. Buildings are important, but people want to have relationship with people. And so the more that you can add pictures of people that are happening, that are worshiping or being in community or serving. Um, those are always good to have. So yeah, I think that's a good start for our new series here. And um, yeah, if you have any questions about how to improve your website, how to implement some of these changes that I've mentioned in your own church website, feel free to reach out to me too. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have as you try to reach your community with the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so we'll go through a different website next Wednesday, and I'm sure we'll see some similarities in uh, things that I talk about in different websites, but every website is a little bit unique too. And so hopefully you'll join us along in that journey as we go through and unpack different websites as well. But feel free to again reach out to me anytime. You're here on YouTube, so obviously you can leave a comment. You can also reach out to me by email. My email, the best, easiest way to email me is probably info@churchjuice.com. Have a great day, everybody. Hope you enjoy the rest of your, what I hope is a sunny, warm day wherever you are. Have a great day.